Hello everyone. Today we are diving into the world of AWS Lambda, where computing becomes as easy as waving a magic wand. So imagine having a personal assistant for your computer tasks. That's exactly what AWS Lambda is all about, right? So basically, all right, let's start with the basic. Our title today is AWS Lambda Computing Without Servers. Right. So basically, next is content. So here, today topic is AWS Lambda, but I was already covered these two topics, Amazon EC2 and Amazon EC2 auto scaling, right? So if you don't watch that video, so watch it. Now let's start our today topic. So our today topic is AWS Lambda. So this is the introduction part. So I read this. AWS Lambda is like having a personal assistant for your computer tasks. Imagine you had someone who automatically did things for you. Get it? So, whenever you need it without you having to ask, that's what AWS Lambda does for your computer programs. Get it? So I explain this, right? So let's break it down. All right, things of AWS Lambda as your computers on little helper, right? Like a personal assistant. So imagine you have this magical friend who knows exactly what you need and does it for you without you having to say a word. That's what AWS Lambda does for your computer programs. Get it? So, normally, when your computer has a job to do, it's like telling a friend, hey, can you do this for me? But with AWS Lambda, it's more like having a friend who knows you need so well that they just do things automatically. Right, and no asking required. So, you just set it up once, and Lambda takes care of your computer tasks whenever they come up, right? So, basically, it's like having a super reliable and smart helper for your computer, making your life a whole a lot easier, right? So, I hope you get it. What does Lambda? So next is what is AWS Lambda? So AWS Lambda is a computing service that lets you run your code without worrying about setting up or managing servers. That's the good things, right? So in traditional computing, you need a computer, it means server, to run your programs with AWS Lambda, right? So you don't have to bother about the server part. You just provide your code and AWS Lambda take care of the rest. Get it? So let's break down into even simple terms, right? So imagine you have a basically you have a magic genie, right? Named AWS Lambda. So normally when you want to run your computer programs, it's like having to build and manage your own special workshop. It means servers, right? So basically it's a bit of hassle, right? So with AWS Lambda you don't need to worry about building or looking after that workshop anymore, right? Here's the trick, and that trick is instead of dealing with the workshop stuff, you just tell your genie, it means AWS Lambda, what you want to do. It means provide your code, right? And proof. So the genie takes care of all the behind the scenes work and you get the result you want without the headache of dealing with the workshop. It means server, right? So basically, it's like having your own magical assistants for running your computer programs, right? and no workshop management required. That's a good thing, right? In AWS Lambda, right? So next slide is, I hope you get it, right? What is AWS Lambda? So next slide is example, real life example. So let's say you have a photo sharing app. Every time someone uploads a photo and you might want to automatically resize it for thumbnails. So instead of having a computer running all the time just for resizing, you can use AWS Lambda. Get it? So first step is your code, right? Step one is your code, and that's the important step, right? For Lambda. So your code, write a small program that resizes your photo, right? And second step is AWS Lambda. Basically, upload your program to AWS Lambda, right? And for trigger, tell AWS Lambda to run your program whenever a new photo is uploaded. Get it? That's the this is the basically example of AWS Lambda, right? Next is benefits. So first benefits is no server to manage. That's the good thing of AWS Lambda. So first traditional is you need to set up and manage a computer to run your code, right? But in Lambda, no servers to worry about, and AWS Lambda automatically takes care of the computing resources. So that's the benefit of AWS Lambda, right? Second is pay for what you use. That's the benefit, right? First is no server to manage. Second is pay for what you use. So in traditional, you pay for the whole server, even if your program runs for a few seconds, right? That's the not good thing. But in Lambda, pay only for the time your code is running. So if your program runs for 100 milliseconds, you pay only for that 100 milliseconds, right? Third benefit is automatic scaling. So in traditional, if many people use your app, you might need to be a bigger server, right? But in Lambda, so in this case, scale automatically, right? It means if lots of photos are uploaded, Lambda can run your code for each one without any effort on your part. Get it? So next is conclusion. So in conclusion, AWS Lambda is like having a magic wand for your coding task. So it's simple, cost effective, and takes away the hassle of managing servers. So allowing you to focus on writing great code for your application. That's the important thing in Lambda, right? So I hope you get it all about AWS Lambda, right? So thank you for joining today's journey into the world of AWS Lambda. And if you have any questions or want to explore further, feel free to ask. And happy coding, everyone.